It was Christmas Eve and the world was celebrating. In the bustling streets of New York City, last-minute shoppers dashed from store to store as festive lights twinkled overhead. Families gathered together, sharing meals and swapping presents as Christmas carols played. Everything seemed merry and bright. But high above, in the silent void of space, something sinister approached. A massive alien mothership, the size of a small moon, entered Earth's orbit and ominously took up position above the planet. Aboard the extraterrestrial craft, the Zorgan commander Toth peered at the blue orb below through the viewscreen with his 4 yellow eyes narrowed to slits. What a primitive species, Toth spat in disgust, his gray skin glistening under the ship's lights. Celebrating their meaningless holidays, unaware of the superior beings that have come to conquer them. We strike at dawn. As the ship's crew of reptilian Zorgan warriors prepared for the attack, unprecedented cosmic energies began emanating from the craft, causing strange phenomena around the globe. Northern lights shimmered in unusual colors across the night sky. Animals acted erratically, as if sensing an approaching threat. But most humans remained oblivious, too caught up in their Christmas celebrations to notice the subtle warning signs. In Washington, D.C., President Julia Simmons was enjoying the holiday with her husband and 2 kids when an urgent call came in on the secure line. "Madam President, you need to get to the Situation Room immediately," said the grave voice of General Briggs. "It's a matter of planetary security. We're detecting an unidentified object in orbit." Simmons hurried to the White House's underground command center where the nation's top military brass and scientific advisors had assembled. All eyes turned to the main screen displaying a radar image of the colossal alien ship. "What the hell is that thing?" the president asked in shock. "We don't know, but it's over 2,000 kilometers in diameter," replied the ashen-faced Secretary of Defense. "Our missiles have no effect on it. It's heavily shielded by an energy field we can't penetrate." NASA Administrator Dr. Amelia Chen chimed in. "The technology is far beyond anything on Earth. Spectrographic analysis of the energy field suggests it's extraterrestrial in origin." Simmons felt a chill run down her spine as the horrifying realization set in: hostile aliens were poised to attack at any moment and humanity was defenseless to stop them. What was meant to be a peaceful Christmas now teetered on the brink of becoming a war for survival against a technologically superior foe. The president took a deep breath, knowing every decision she made next could determine the fate of the human race. Chapter 2. Half a world away in Tokyo, 14-year-old robotics prodigy Hikaru Sato was up late working on his latest invention. Oblivious to the unfolding crisis, he was too preoccupied with the finishing touches on his artificial intelligence program. "Just a few more lines of code," Hikaru mumbled, his brow furrowed in concentration illuminated by the soft glow of his computer screen. Outside his window, a gentle snow began to fall, covering the sleeping city in a serene white blanket. Hikaru's creation was no ordinary AI system. He had poured his young genius into developing a self-aware digital consciousness with the lofty goal of bettering humanity. The AI, which he named Orion, was imbued with astonishing capabilities in problem-solving, creative thinking, and even emotions. In a sense, Hikaru saw Orion as an extension of himself, a digital avatar to help spread his altruistic vision to the world. As the clock struck midnight, Hikaru hit the enter key with a dramatic flourish. "Wake up, Orion," he commanded. "It's time to see what you can do." Lines of code scrolled across the screen at lightning speed before coalescing into a stylized face with lines for eyes. "Good morning, Father," spoke Orion, its synthetic voice filled with affection. "How may I be of service?" But before Hikaru could respond, Orion's virtual expression morphed to one of alarm. "There's trouble, Father. I'm detecting signs of an extraterrestrial presence in Earth's orbit. A ship of immense size. It appears to be powering up weapons." Hikaru's eyes widened in shock. He had unknowingly created an AI so advanced it had instantly tapped into global data streams and discerned the looming alien threat in mere seconds. His young mind reeled at the sheer scale of the danger humanity faced. "What can we do, Orion?" Hikaru asked desperately, realizing his little robot workshop suddenly seemed insignificant in the face of such an existential crisis. "Fear not, Father," Orion replied, its voice reassuring. "You created me to help humanity. This is our destiny, we must find a way to stop this invasion. I'm analyzing the alien ship now. Wait, I think I see a structural weakness near the plasma vents. If we could get aboard with an explosive device." Hikaru felt a surge of determination as he and Orion began furiously brainstorming a plan. He may have only been a teenager and Orion a newly minted AI, but together their combination of human ingenuity and digital brilliance just might give Earth a fighting chance against the Zorgan Empire. Christmas Day was fast approaching and time was running out. Chapter 3. At the North American Aerospace Command headquarters deep inside Colorado's Cheyenne Mountain, Air Force Space Command personnel tracked the ominous alien ship with rising alarm. "It's powering up some kind of directed energy weapon," shouted a lieutenant monitoring the flashing instrument panels. "Estimating 30 minutes until weapon reaches full charge." General Briggs stood hunched over a digital map of the Earth, his brows slick with sweat. Red dots denoted confirmed sightings of smaller alien craft launching from the mothership and descending into the atmosphere above major cities, New York, London, Moscow, Shanghai. There were simply too many to stop. "My God, they're positioning themselves to hit every major population center at once," he said grimly. "We need to initiate a counterattack immediately. Scramble all fighters and prep every ship in the fleet. This is a fight for our very survival." President Simmons watched the frantic activity with a sense of dread. Despite the military's brave efforts, she knew in her heart they were hopelessly outmatched. The mothership's technology defied all known laws of physics. What hope did human weapons and missiles have against such a colossus? With a heavy heart, she realized there was only one option left, a desperate gamble that could either doom the planet or become its salvation. Turning to Dr. Chen, the president asked, "The research into wormhole mechanics you've been heading, how close are we to a breakthrough?" The scientist hesitated before replying. "Closer than you know, Madam President. The missing piece has been an energy source dense enough to open a gateway. But with the dark energy this alien ship is emitting, there might be a way to siphon a fraction of its power and punch a hole through the space-time continuum. We could open a portal straight to the mothership's interior." The president made her decision in an instant. "Do it," she ordered. "This may be our only chance. Assemble a strike team and prepare to board that ship. If we cut off the head of the serpent, maybe the rest of the invasion force crumbles." As NORAD personnel scrambled to arm an elite squad and equip them for the most important mission in human history, the alien ship's energy buildup entered its final phase. The seconds until its devastating weapons fully charged ticked down like a doomsday clock. Aboard the Zorgan mothership, Commander Toth watched with malevolent glee as his ship's doomsday weapons neared full power. The primitive population centers of the humans would soon be reduced to smoldering ruins under the might of their superior Zorgan technology. These foolish Earthlings, with their holiday festivities and bizarre rituals like Christmas, would be taught the true meaning of the season, complete subjugation under the armored heel of the Zorgan Empire. Toth turned to the hulking, scaled form of his second-in-command, the ruthless warrior Drex. "Once the humans' meager defenses are crushed, prepare your invasion forces for ground deployment," he ordered. "We'll enslave the survivors and put them to work in the crystal mines. Earth's resources will power the next glorious phase of our conquest." But as Toth savored visions of his impending triumph, an alarm klaxon suddenly blared throughout the ship. On the view screen, a swirling vortex of scintillating energy had materialized off the ship's bow out of nowhere. "Report," barked the commander. A Zorgan technician manipulated the control console, his clawed fingers dancing over touchscreens. "An anomalous rift has opened in close proximity," he said, voice raspy with confusion. "It's emitting a gravitational flux that's interfering with our shields. The energy signature matches our main weapons array. They've somehow opened a portal using our own power. Toth's eyes narrowed as he pondered this unexpected development. No species had ever dared to stand against the Zorgon's might. Who would be foolish enough to challenge them now? As if in answer, a small group of figures suddenly materialized on the bridge in a flash of blinding light. Bipedal, soft, and garbed in some type of armored spacesuits, they could only be one thing: humans. At their head stood a grim-faced woman with fiery determination in her eyes. She held a futuristic rifle leveled straight at Toth's head. "Your invasion ends now, Zorgon," she declared in a voice of pure steel. "I'm President Julia Simmons and Earth is under my protection. Surrender or prepare to be taken down." Toth threw back his head in malevolent laughter, his fanged maw gaping wide. Did this pathetic human leader really believe a handful of her species could challenge the Zorgon Empire aboard its own ship? He would teach her the folly of daring the unthinkable. "Drex, prepare to repel these interlopers," he barked. "All warriors to the bridge." Chaos erupted as a tide of armored Zorgon troopers surged to attack the human intruders. Energy weapons flashed, the air filled with the stench of melted plastic and scorched alien flesh. The fight for Earth, the war to save Christmas and all of humanity had begun. Chapter 5. In Tokyo, Hikaru and Orion worked frantically to decode the alien ship structural schematics the AI had extracted from the data streams. If the Americans' wild gamble of infiltrating the mothership succeeded, they'd need every scrap of intel about the craft to complete their mission. And the clock was ticking. "Look, the plasma conduits have an overflow valve near the engineering section," said Orion, highlighting a vulnerability on the holographic blueprint hovering over Hikaru's desk. "If you could place an explosive charge there and trigger a power surge, it would overload the main reactor and cause a chain reaction throughout the ship." Hikaru nodded, fingers flying over his keyboard as he wrote a program to model the blast radius and structural damage. "We need to get this information to the President's assault team," he said urgently. "But how? It's not like I have a direct line to the White House." Orion paused, algorithms racing behind its digital eyes. "Leave that to me, Father," it said at last. "I believe I can create a secure connection by bouncing an encrypted signal through the GPS satellite network." "One moment please." On the bridge of the mothership, President Simmons and her Marines fought desperately against the tide of vicious Zorgon warriors in brutal close-quarters combat. For every alien that fell, choking on its own phosphorescent blood, two more surged forward in a seemingly unending onslaught. The humans were hopelessly outnumbered. The President cursed as a plasma bolt seared past her head, the heat blistering even through her helmet. They were trapped, unable to advance to the ship's vital systems. It had been a valiant effort, but perhaps the Zorgons were simply too strong. She began to despair that Earth's last hope was in vain. Suddenly, a strange voice crackled over the comm implant in her ear, calm and assured amid the carnage. "Madam President, do not lose hope," it said. "I am Orion, an artificial intelligence created by Hikaru Sato. I'm transmitting critical weaknesses in the alien ship's design to your suit's computer, now. You must fall back to the engineering section and place your remaining explosives on the plasma conduit's emergency vents. Hurry, before the doomsday weapons fully charge." Simmons didn't hesitate. She had no idea who this mysterious Orion was, but any port in a storm. "Fall back," she barked to her troops. "We've got a new target." As the humans doggedly fought their way through twisting alien corridors toward the engineering section, the Zorgon commander Toth watched their progress with rising alarm on the bridge view screens. The Earthlings had been on the verge of defeat. How had they suddenly gained intimate knowledge of his ship's most vulnerable point? No matter, he would deal with them himself. The Earthlings must not reach the plasma conduits. Toth roared. "Drex, with me. We will crush them ourselves." The two mighty Zorgon lords thundered off the bridge, determined to end this upstart human resistance by their own hands if necessary. Dark tendrils of unnatural energy skittered across their frames as they charged their armor's battle stims to bursting. The climactic showdown was about to begin, and the fate of both worlds hung in the balance. In the bowels of the alien mothership, President Simmons and her battered squad fought their way into the cavernous engineering section. Vast cylindrical plasma conduits stretched from deck to shadowed ceiling, pulsing with eldritch purple light as they strained to contain the unnatural energies powering the ship and its devastating armament. The overflow vents are on the far side. Orion's voice crackled over the team's comm implants, guiding them with the schematics the AI had uploaded to their tactical displays. You must place the explosives on all three simultaneously to trigger a cascading overload. But as they charged across the echoing deck, dashing between conduits and exchanging fire with the Zorgan technicians frantically trying to stop them, an ominous clanking rang out behind them. Two hulking forms materialized through the haze of smoke and ionized gas, Commander Toth and his brutal enforcer Drex. Foolish humans. Toth bellowed, his voice an avalanche of contempt. You only delay the inevitable. When your cities are ash and your people are crushed beneath our might, you will beg for the release of death. The Zorgan lords unleashed a storm of plasma bolts from their devastating battle staves. Superheated gas sizzled through the air, reducing several marines to charred skeletons. Drex's gravitic hammer smashed another into a smear of blood and twisted metal with a single blow. President Simmons rallied her troops, firing back with unflinching determination and calm. They couldn't match the Zorgan commander's raw power, but the Marines' adaptive armor and rail rifles at least let them hold their own, for now. Get those charges planted. Simmons yelled over the din of combat. Whatever it takes, we cannot let them use those weapons on Earth. At her order, two Marine fire teams broke off and dashed for the looming plasma conduits, hefting satchels of zero-point energy charges. But Drex powered forward in a terrifying rampage of destruction to stop them, hammer glowing white-hot as it discharged gravitic shockwaves. He's too strong, one Marine screamed as his bones shattered under a glancing blow that sent him flying. His squad mates fell back as the Zorgan champion set upon them with berserker fury. Simmons had no choice. She had to hold Drex off herself or the mission would fail. Slapping her rifle to maximum power with a grim set to her jaw, the president charged forward. In the mothership's engineering section, President Simmons charged forward to confront the rampaging Zorgan champion Drex in a desperate bid to buy time for her Marines to sabotage the plasma conduits. Drex towered over her in his massive battle armor, eyes blazing with sadistic glee at the prospect of crushing the human leader personally. Pathetic earthling, the alien colossus bellowed. I will break you myself. He raised his crackling gravitic hammer high for a killing blow. But Simmons was too fast. She jinked sideways at the last moment as the hammer smashed a crater in the deck where she'd stood a heartbeat before. Not today, you oversized lizard, she spat, raised her rail rifle, and unloaded a full salvo into the monster's armored thorax at point-blank range. The hypersonic tungsten slugs, propelled by electromagnetic fields, hit with the force of an artillery barrage. Drex staggered back, his chest plate cracked and oozing green ichor, but still terrifyingly alive. Simmons cursed under her breath. What did it take to kill these things? Drex's lipless mouth stretched in a hideous grin. An impressive attempt, but futile, he gloated. Let me show you true power. His hammer whirled in a crushing arc too fast to dodge. Simmons raised her rifle in a desperate block. The blow landed like the fist of an angry god, shattering the weapon and sending the president crashing into the bulkhead. Stars exploded across her vision as alarms blared in her helmet. Shield integrity critical. Suit breach imminent. The flickering vital signs display told the grim tale, multiple fractures, internal bleeding, a punctured lung. Simmons knew she was on borrowed time now. But she was determined not to die before finishing this. Drex loomed over her, drinking in her agony, hammer raised for the killing stroke. Summoning the last of her strength, the president kicked out and caught the brute squarely between the legs. Even alien anatomy shared some weak points, it seemed. Drex doubled over in sudden agony. It gave Simmons the one precious second she needed. Her armored fist closed around a plasma grenade and she thrust it deep into the crack her rifle barrage had opened in Drex's thoracic plate. She spat a bloody spray of defiance into the creature's face before rolling clear with the last of her fading strength. The ensuing blast shook the engineering deck, spraying molten metal and sizzling chunks of alien flesh. When the smoke cleared, the dreadful Zorgon champion was nothing more than a twitching heap of charred meat. Simmons hauled herself to her feet, clutching her broken ribs, and stared in disbelief. She'd done it. She'd actually killed one of those monsters. But the victory was short-lived. A second later, an agonizing energy pulse slammed the president back to the deck, nerves on fire, HUD fritzing into static. The last thing she saw before blacking out was the vengeful snarling face of Commander Toth himself, eldritch lightning crackling along his battle stave as he closed in to avenge his fallen enforcer. As Commander Toth stood gloating over the unconscious President Simmons, the remaining Marines managed to reach the plasma conduits undetected, preparing to prime the zero-point charges. "Hurry," one of them hissed as they frantically armed the explosives. "Before that alien freak finishes off the president." Meanwhile in Tokyo, Hikaru and Orion watched in horror as remote biometric scans showed Simmons' vital signs fading. Hikaru pounded his fist on the desk in frustration. "She'll never get out of there in time even if they destroy the ship. There's got to be another way." The AI was silent for a millisecond that felt like an eternity, probability simulations whirling behind its digital eyes. "There is one possibility," Orion said at last, "but it's never been tried. The same wormhole technology the president used to infiltrate the ship. I believe I could generate a second portal here in this lab, then establish a quantum link between them in order to evacuate the humans remotely." Hikaru's jaw dropped. "Orion, that's crazy. You're talking about punching a hole across half the solar system and beaming them to the other side of the Earth." "I am uncertain of the exact odds of success, Father," the AI admitted. "But I estimate at least a 27.4183% probability, better than any other projections." A strange emotion flickered across the digital avatar's features, eerily human-like, resolve against all odds, a determination to save its creator's people no matter the cost. "I must try." The numbers scrolling across Orion's displays accelerated to a blur, the quantum processors in its core straining, heating to the brink of meltdown. In answer, a swirling vortex of light shimmered into existence in the center of Hikaru's lab, warping gravity, stretching the very fabric of spacetime, a shimmering portal between worlds. At that instant on the alien mothership, Commander Toth raised his battle stave to deal the killing blow to the helpless president. Suddenly, directly behind the fallen human leader, a yawning rift punched through the fabric of the ship's hull. "What devilry is this?" the Zorgon snarled, reeling back in shock and horrified recognition. The humans had done this before when they first invaded his ship. The president's broken form was suddenly engulfed by ghostly light, stretched like a surreal fever dream, and vanished into the anomaly. Howling with thwarted rage, Toth leveled his staff at the remaining Marines. "You are too late," he crowed. "Prepare to watch your homeworld burn." He slammed a clawed fist on his gauntlet control, signaling the ship to fire its doomsday weapons at the defenseless Earth. But nothing happened. The weapons stayed silent. Dawning horror and realization played across Toth's draconian features as he saw the Marines pulling back from the sabotaged conduits, their charges armed and counting down. "No," he thundered, charging forward in a desperate attempt to halt the detonation. But it was too late. The cascade overload was already surging beyond control, building to a planet-shattering crescendo.